Welcome to Around the Blockchain. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
All right, Stephen and Rick, welcome to Around the Blockchain. Stephen, we might start with you first. If you can just give us a brief introduction, and then Rick will move to you.
Hi, my name's Steven. I work at Human Park. I'm the executive producer here. I'm really excited to share some information and just talk a little bit about our game, Human Park.
And I'm Rick Pearce, creative and technical director of Spectre Studios, and we were part of the VHS family, heading up sort of the design and creation of Human Park.
Awesome. I guess the next natural question to ask is going to be, what is Human Park? Can someone give me a bit of a brief description of, I guess, what it is and what you guys are kind of doing there?
Stephen speaks so eloquently, so we'll let him do that part.
Perfect. So Human Park is more of an experience. It's a platform that we're building that we want the users to be really empowered into self-expression. We have a couple core features that we're really focusing on. One is accessibility. We're building a platform in which we want as many people to be able to access. We do see that NFTs in the past have been somewhat price gated, and we want to allow for as much accessibility. And right now, of course, you can access Human Park for free. And we're going to continue to find pathways to give people access. High fidelity, I'll let Rick speak to that a little bit more. We're building this whole platform in Unreal, which is a very, renowned engine. Everybody has used it. Everybody's seen the capabilities of it. We are building a blended experience. So it's not so much, hey, here's the experience we want you to have, but something that the users can help define themselves, whether that's created, exploratory. And then right now, as people download the client, it's about self-expression. So really giving the players the tools to express themselves cosmetically. It's one of the first customizable NFT avatars that you can do and mint. And we really want to put the power into the user's hands and not say like, hey, here's this thing that you're going to get, but really, walk alongside them as they create, as they tell their own story.
And Rick, did you have anything to sort of add to that as well?
It's just Stephen's voice really soothes me. I felt like that was really a good explanation of the whole thing.
I totally agree.
Yeah, but on that, the self-expression thing is a really big thing too. In the crypto space, we come from a traditional film background, design background, and gaming background. So what we find people value in the crypto space is very different from what a traditional gamer would value. So giving extra utility to the things that we give people has been really kind of important to us. So that's agency over how you look, how you design yourself, and then that'll extend throughout Human Park too. So there's no top-down approach to what we think you should be doing in our platform. That we're going to be, it's going to be quite conversational at points, but at the same time, if there's a lot of things that we like and we think the community would get a kick out of, we're going to push for those to be things that we express. That's whether it's film tie-ins, music, or mini gameplay, mini games, or game experiences. There's a whole range of a plethora of entertainment that we want to sort of tap into, and Human Park becomes a really good sort of launching pad for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I find it very interesting that you're basically giving away access to the game and minting for free. What was the sort of thoughts behind that? I know a lot of NFT projects and specifically play to earn type games and stuff like that allow you to mint, but obviously there's a cost involved. So what was the thoughts behind giving away access to the game initially for free?
The thought is really, how do we engage an audience that's not a crypto native or an NFT native? And how do we, NFTs and crypto, as we see it, for at least from a gaming perspective, and what we're trying to accomplish is really bridge this gap that hasn't been crossed by any project yet, really. And how do we allow our audience to have meaningful digital ownership? you know, if you have to buy into an NFT, you already have ownership, and it is meaningful because you poured X amount of funds into it. And what we really wanted to give to the users is free access. And as they build value into the game, whether they're accomplishing things, achieving things, attaining different assets, or pouring their different NFT projects within Human Park, their avatar becomes more valuable as they spend more time on it. And we didn't want that first barrier to be a price blocker, because we don't want to limit the amount of creativity that's out there. We don't want people to be hesitant because there is this huge price gate. As other, you know, free to play projects have, what free to play has done for gaming, we really see this as a unique opportunity to free to play for digital ownership. And so giving people that ownership into NFTs, we feel like we're unlocking a whole different set of community that could showcase a whole nother arena of creativity, you know, how they express themselves. What does this universe actually look like, besides people who can, you know, purchase into it? That's really kind of the thought into that. We wanted to embrace and give that access to an audience that was a little bit, you know, blocked by price.
Yeah, I really like that. I think you're right. There's a lot of places, sorry, a lot of games and stuff out there, NFT based, that do have maybe not such a high price point, but if they're trying to appeal to a market that's not crypto native, obviously, like you guys seem to be, you're trying to sort of appeal to a bunch of different people, not just directly through the crypto space, but outside of that, can be quite a difficult experience to you know, install a MetaMask and set all that sort of stuff up to get this sort of thing off the ground. So I like that you've been able to kind of come up with something that's just easy and gives access to everybody through. It sounds very metaverse based. Sounds like there's, you know, obviously a huge metaverse aspect to this game. Can you talk a little bit about that? And then I guess thoughts around what you're kind of looking to do inside of the space as well. I know you kind of mentioned a few times that it's going to be very, you know, quite inclusive, with a bunch of different things happening, and allowing players to, you know, go and do pretty much whatever they seem to want to do. But can you kind of, I guess, chat a little bit about that metaverse aspect of this game, and then some things, I guess, with inside that as well.
There you go.
You want to take this one, Rick?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, when you, I have a very different take on the metaverse concept. There's a lot of like talk about what it is and what it can't be and what it should be. The reality, being a technical director, coming from a point of where you make something physically, hardware, and how software works with it, we're so far off what an actual metaverse could look like that at the moment it just becomes quite a convenient sort of thing to say, as when you're trying to wrap things together that live in this ecosystem. Well, but I guess the key point about a metaverse would be interoperability. You know, how do you take something from one format and one platform and bring it into another? You can have a metaverse, but if you only provide a service within a platform, then there's no different than the current system where everyone is a walled garden and you can't share. So what we're doing is we will never ever say we are a metaverse, but we're definitely one of those things where we're going to promote interoperability wherever we can. So bringing your current NFTs into our platform, into the space, we're going to encourage it. In fact, we'll reward it. And then taking things from taking assets or achievements from Park outside and then sharing them in other platforms, that's going to be one of our key motives as well. So we're definitely not going to gate or wall garden our experiences and the things that you can do in it. And the only way we're going to do that is by embracing that idea is that we need to, interoperability needs to be one of those things that we have at core. And part of the experiences will be that, you know, we're currently talking to a film that's been made. We'll engage with them. We'll make a trailer. We'll create some assets. We'll create a mini game based off the film. The film will get launched, and then we'll have a space within our platform where people who are connected to that film can come and enjoy it. and then they can take those assets outside of it. So we're never trapping people. If anything, this becomes an aggregator for the things that you like, that you've collected in different places, to bring it into a place where you're not going to be trapped via paid walled gardens. So that's my take on a metaverse and where I think that where we sit. But we'll let Stephen throw another shade to that, another color.
No, I think Rick nailed it on the head there. We don't want to self-express that, hey, we are a metaverse, because that has been synonymous with so many different platforms, different types of companies saying like, hey, we're building a metaverse, and then another person building a metaverse, which kind of is counterintuitive to the whole fact of a metaverse, right? It's like, how can 3, 4, 10, 20 different companies build their own metaverse? And our goal really is to give player agency and player choice, and we're starting with that, with self-expression. We are aiming to have blended experiences, whether, like Rick said, we're dipping into film, entertainment, sports, mini games. We don't want to limit that, and what we're really striving for from day one is getting community feedback, driving off that feedback, and really building our development pipeline around that. And that's something we've been wanting to do from day one, and something we're acting in. As Rick mentioned, we already have a client update, 2 days in. And why? We've had a number of support tickets and community feedback upon certain features that the players want, and we're delivering on that. And so if, at some point in time, if the users want to define Human Park as a metaverse, it's not our job to stop that. And if it grows and expands to that point, that would be amazing. But that's something we internally don't want to define. We don't want to look at ourselves as hey, we're giving you this guided experience, and this is what you will call the metaverse. Instead, we want to give them the tools and the empowerment and the capabilities to, experience Human Park in their own way, self-identify and how they want to express themselves digitally, and how they want to, as Rick mentioned, bring in any other representative, whether those are other NFTs, films, brands, into that self-expression category.
I think that one's quite important, the interoperability type piece. I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think anyone's really nailed that too well yet. Obviously, I know it's an option in a couple of different places throughout the crypto space, but I don't think anyone's nailed it to the extent that you guys seem to be sort of striving for. So it's going to be interesting to see, I guess, how you guys go doing that. Where, I guess, is the game at the moment versus, say 12 months down the track, and then maybe even looking broader beyond that, say 3 to 5 years down the track?
I can go ahead on a vision standpoint, but
Sure.
we're developing the pipeline. We have a couple different milestones ahead of us. Our first stage is really giving players the capabilities of self-expression and going down that pipeline fully. Down the pipeline as well, as we mentioned, we want these blended experiences, the different types of entertainment integrations, NFT interoperability, and high fidelity gaming. So all those things take time, of course. We're not here to make low-end carbon copies of existing games, but rather, as mentioned before too, is really pulling the audience and really looking at what our community wants to engage with. And we'll be building those custom experiences. And we have a very high benchmark, as you can see. If you go into Human Park now, the level of detail that's going into each avatar is only going to be immersive in these environments. We've done locomotion tests, collision tests, all these types of different animations that we can have, as well as first person view, FPS tests, all those sort of things. So as far as the type of experiences we'll have in 3 to 5 years, we're looking on, a full blown, of course, immersive experiences with great audio, great environment, amazing, storylines, that whole thing. In the short term, we're really focused on how people can express themselves and getting NFT interoperability across the line.
I'll jump into one unique thing about the team behind Human Park is we all come from very different backgrounds, and you know, when you look at some projects, they're quite samey in terms of the same kinds of people doing the same kinds of things for a long time. So it becomes rinse and repeat. You know, you copy and you lean into what everyone else is doing. The cool thing about what we have in our team is that Steve's got an amazing amount of game experience, got a great background. We've got people coming from film, we've got people coming from mobile gaming. We've got obviously the guidance of VHS and how the Z operates. So we have all these like really cool strings to the bow that have never been pulled together before. So there's what we'll end up making in about 6 to 12 months. I don't think anyone would be able to plan properly. You know, there are things that just happen naturally. We're like, hey, we do this in gaming. Should we try to do this in film? Or should we, hey, there's another thing that we do in this space. How does that look like if we express it on the web or on the client? So there's all these really interesting conversations we have where we're sort of blending each one of our backgrounds and experiences into something new, and it's crafting these new types of play, which we're super excited about. And you know, obviously the configurator is the first baby, really. So gamers want this, NFT guys want that, you know, film guys want this, and it ends up being this like pretty, you know, configurator thing, born of those different types of experiences. So the kind of games and the kinds of entertainment that we'll create will be that same kind of thing, where you have the best of this world, the best of that world, all sort of mushed together, and somehow makes sense that you know, you want to keep coming back to it. So that's one of our strengths, I think, and we haven't really fully realized the full capabilities of that team yet, you know, but in the next 6 to 12 months, I imagine there's going to be a lot of world firsts that we do. There's going to be a lot of things that we get right, and there's going to be a lot of things that we try and we probably don't get right, but at least there's going to be a lot of things that we're brave enough to try. And I think that's the cool thing about what we're doing at Human Park. There's no carbon copy you know, strategy that we're following. This is something that we're all sort of passionate about, that we're creating from personal experiences and things that we would want to play. So that's the one cool unique thing that I think we have working for us when we look at a roadmap.
I really like what you said there as well. Like, you've got people from completely different backgrounds all coming together into one team. I've been on teams similar to that before in the past, in just like previous, in a previous career. And I found that the team, you know, obviously performed really well because everyone had a different perspective on where things should go, and they were all like quite collaborative. And I think that's where like a lot of success happens. If you have too many people, like you said, that are from the same background, that have done the same thing all the time, they're going to want to do things, you know, typically their own way, and they'll try and kind of pull the ship maybe in, you know, 2 different directions, and you probably have a bit of a clash of leadership or something like that, which internally is, you know, pretty catastrophic if you're trying to get stuff done. But if you have people from different backgrounds that can all kind of, you know, chuck something into the pot and then mesh that all together and come up with something pretty unique, I think that's, you know, obviously a massive strength. And like you said, I think it's going to be good to see what happens in the next, you know, 6 to 12 months with you guys, because it sounds like you've probably got a lot of pieces of the puzzle together. And once you kind of, you know, start to work together for a longer period of time, you probably start seeing some cool magic and stuff happen. Rick, are you able to share your screen or share anything with us? Because I think it'd be cool to show the viewers what we've got going on here at the moment.
Certainly. So this is the latest build of Human Park that's live now for whoever was part of one of the waves. I'll just share this now. Let me know you got it okay.
Yeah,
I'll kill the music just because it's quite loud, but it's actually a cool soundtrack. So once you get in, click OK. Look, let me just reset all to-dos. So essentially, you start with a blank canvas, you know, just kind of like how you're born. You choose your gender. You can choose your body type as well. You know, however you want to express yourself, and also, you know, what tone of skin that you want to express yourself in. I tend to choose this guy. It's kind of like closer to my natural physique. And he's also the biggest canvas that I can paint more tattoos on. So the cool thing about this for a user, right, is that they jump in and it's blank. We're not going to tell you exactly how to paint here. It's mostly intuitive. There's a little UI here that shows you what part of the body you're on, and it helps the user sort of figure out, you know, obviously some of it's quite confronting if this is really how you look like, but at the same time, it's kind of cool because like, hey, if I got that tattoo, here's a good example of what some dice would look like on my leg. But it's cool because, you know, it's a bit of self-expression. You're brave enough to do things on this nude that you'd never do in real life. So what we decided to make it a little bit easy for the users. We've got a couple of presets up here. They can start here and then they understand, okay, this is where tattoos get positioned, and they can get it jumping and get brave. We've pre-configured a couple here just for people to have a jumping off point, but there's literally all up in all different regions of places. There's about 1,000 tattoos that you can use in different orientations, however you feel, and you can color them and change them. Look, I'll add a couple here now. Just the face. It's fully customizable, so you can move it around, change the color, change the scale. So however you feel you want to express yourself. So some people already in our community have done amazing jobs with finding the edges of where this tool breaks, and they exploit them. So there are points of the body where you can overscale, and then all of a sudden now that whole part of your body is like a color. It was never designed that way, but the good thing about users is they always find the ways that they want to use it. So we don't fix it. We just embrace it. And we make it better. So they've asked, hey, can you fix these components? So we make it, now it's a feature. Can you add some more animation? So now, you know, in the last couple of days, we've just gone through, animated a whole bunch of things for people to sort of have fun with. A lot of people are recording their screens and sending it through in Discord, sharing their creations. And for them, it's like they get to see this for the first time. So they're so excited about it. And we get to we just witness what people actually want to do. We know how we'd use it. And it's really cool watching how other people use it. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Stephen.
Yeah, it's, you know, coming from a gaming perspective, it's one of those things that, what do I do with my old avatars that I made on the N64, on the NES, or any like Final Fantasy character that I've made in the past? And what we envision and what we believe is so powerful here is that you do have ownership. This is something you own. It's not something that is just locked into this specific client forever and ever. But as you meant this NFT, I could pass this to my son or a friend. And it has that capability, which really unlocks a whole nother level of self-expression, right? It's like, I love to gift these sort of things, or this is an experience that I'd like to share with somebody else. So giving not only this customization visually, but empowering people to actually own this, something that they've put their hands on, spent time, put their own, you know, kind of personal touch, self-identity into, and that actually becomes something that you own, that has value, that people can sell or own or pass down. And I think that's immensely powerful. That's a story that I've yet to actually see online. And I think that is something that Rick and his crew have done an amazing job on accomplishing.
I have to compliment you guys on the level of customization you can go through. I didn't realize how like much you can customize your character. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we always look at things like through our lens, like if this is something that we would do, what would we want to do, and where would we be disappointed, you know, as a user or as a gamer, or even somebody that thinks there might be some value in the thing that you're going to spend time in. And that's the other thing too, coming from gaming, you put so much effort into the characters that you use in those games. And the fact that you can't take them with you, or you can't share them or trade them afterwards, it's like a missed opportunity, right? You've got so much of your life poured into this thing, and then you don't have it again until the next game. You got to start again. This with us, we're like, oh, well, we want the ability to at least make our own person and then keep them for as long as we want. Yeah, and then if we don't like them, then we can trade them, or we could fix them, or we could tweak them as much as we like you do per season. But so this whole tool was like, well, where are the edges? What are the things that we find that we don't like, and what are the things we really, really would like to have in there? And that's what we push for. And so the level of customization in this is the beginning. And then when we look at where we're going to go with other components of the pipeline, whether it's wearables or places that they'll be, or environments they get to sort of experience, we're just going to keep the bar high or the whole way. Whether or not it's customization or just the experience itself, we're definitely gonna. This is gonna thing that we're hoping to set the standard really going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Stephen, were you going to say something?
Just to, I know Rick touched upon this point, and I think what makes our team very unique is that we have people with vast amounts of experience from almost every single silo and technical expertise, from environment art, 3D art, character, concept, to a very highly skilled technical backend team, a Web3 team, a team that comes from a gaming background, that could all push those boundaries and fight and advocate for those different sectors. And I think that's what makes, why it's so customizable. We weren't happy with 50. It's like, how about 600? How about 700? How can we make this almost where no nudes are alike? And that's a real capability. And how do we keep that benchmark moving into the future? I think is an extremely exciting, roadway that we're building. Is we're not building something like anything else, and it's sometimes hard to explain, because a lot of games will be like, hey, we're another MMORPG, we're another FPS, we're another battle royale. But honestly, we're building something that isn't like other platforms or anything that other projects are. I feel like Rick said the right word, brave enough to endeavor on. And we have a team that's very committed, very passionate, and we're just so excited to be alongside the community and be a part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you talked a little bit about the customization of the characters. What sort of experiences are going to be customizable with inside Park as well? Is there any sort of examples you can give early on, or is that a bit too far down the pipeline?
Well, we can say a couple of things, like just like other platforms that have this kind of like like a customization. Our users will be able to build things within the space and enjoy it with other users as well. Like Roblox has the developers branch where you can jump on, you can almost be in the game immediately. But if you wanted to build your own, then you can, and then you can customize it however you like. We want to provide the tools to the community to do that. So, hey, this is what we're going to make, and you can experience that however you like. But here are some tools that you can use that go off and do the same thing for yourselves. And we feel like that's where real metaverse play, if you ever going to do use that word, would be. Yeah, it's not just come in here and sit in this room and look at my pretty things. It's like, here, feel free to do whatever you like. Here's some cool stuff you can use, and do whatever weird shit you want to do with it, because we're cool with that. And we're doing that with the customizer. There's been some pretty interesting nudes that come back with interesting ways that you can use graphics, but we're like, at the same time, this is your tool. Yeah, we made this for you. We're not going to govern how you're going to use that. And it's the same when we go into the platform and the tools component for experiences as well. We'll have our own. We'll present, hey, here's a cool experience we want you to have. Here's some cool game mechanics, and here's some experiences. But at the same time, here are the tools that we use to make that thing, and go make your own.
That's awesome. Stephen, do you have anything to add to that as well?
We will be building a lot of different types of experiences, games, entertainment, events, and our bar of quality is going to be extremely high. We're not going to let anything across the board that we feel isn't fulfilling the standards we would want to experience ourselves, whether that's something across film or sports or adventure. We have a lot of team members that are very experienced in each one of those capacities, and as far as what you can experience, we don't want to have a limit on that, and we're building the platform as such to be able to accommodate those types of experiences inside of Human Park. And there will be more news upon those things in the near future.
Awesome. Look, I guess we'll go back to you, Stephen. Do you have any closing thoughts for the viewers or anything that we haven't touched on today that you did want to bring up?
I would just say this is a unique opportunity, and we are promoting, or I would like to promote that we will have a free access period coming up here shortly that will be announced in our Discord and Twitter, and come, in the next couple of days, I would tell your friends, tell your family. This is something that, although there is a friction point to set up a wallet, there's a very rare opportunity to get involved into getting a free NFT, getting into a project this early, becoming in one of the original early members of this community and gaining the rewards and value that comes with that. That's the spiel, the marketing spiel. But on a personal note, I've been a part of gaming my whole life, and working in the gaming industry, and really see this as the next evolution of what gaming and digital experiences can be. What free to play did with mobile gaming and console gaming and PC gaming, I really feel like we're starting to kind of knock on that door of what is that next step. We saw that huge jump from cross-platform when consoles were able to play with PCs, and I think we're starting to really get into that next level of digital experiences that are going to blend, what you see in film and what you see in sports, and how you consume that and how you can experience that in a different way. And I'm excited that not only Human Park is going to be a part of that, but play a heavy role into how that's shaped in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Very exciting times. Rick, do you have any closing thoughts for the viewers as well?
Yeah, I guess one thing is that what we're trying to do is just innovate something that we feel like is probably haven't been touched for a while, right? We do it in film. Anytime there's a new technology, we adapt it, we change how we do things, and then we discover something new. You have to be willing to break some of those things to be able to discover that new thing. And I think what's really cool about what we're doing is that on our journey, we're going to do a lot of things that people are going to question. We're like, oh man, that's weird. Why would you do? Why would you give away free NFTs? But for us, it's like, well, why wouldn't you? Well, that just, that in itself is like, well, you're not really innovating in the space if you're trying to keep the norm. And what we won't do is we're not going to try to keep the norm. We're going to find places like, hey, why hasn't anyone done that before? Okay, let's just try to do that. And the good part about that for us is that it keeps us fresh and it keeps us hungry, and that whole sort of self-expression as a group. We're going to be constantly finding things we're like, we don't like how that works. Let's change it. A current version of the client is the first time anyone's ever made an app that connects to a digital wallet in the way that it does and stores your data in a character the way it does. So why hasn't anyone done that before? Because they're not thinking like that. So we're willing to try that stuff, because now once it's done, that becomes a roadmap for anybody else that's trying to do that in the future. So other game developers in the future that want to understand, how do I get NFTs into my game? Well, here's the roadmap. We did that, and here's a successful example of taking one medium and innovating it for everybody else to benefit from it. So I feel like our journey is we're going to develop these things and create these things. We're going to go on a bit of a discovery for the next 12 months. And at the end of it, we'll look back and we're like, oh, wow, that thing really worked out, or that thing was a steaming pile of shit, but it was still kind of fun to make and people really enjoyed it. But I think the cool thing is that we'll have like a very kind of solid roadmap that you can see that we've built from experience in each one of those things, and that we're not afraid to innovate whenever we come across something that it's a potential roadblock. So and that's what's exciting, right? If for any reason at all just to sit on the fence and just watch what we do for the next 12 months, because you're bound to be surprised at some point of some of the things that we do.
Brilliant. Guys, look, thanks for your time. Before we do go, Stephen, maybe I'll just ask this to you directly, but where can the viewers go to find out a bit more, obviously, about Human Park?
The best place to go would be humanpark.io on March 18th, 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. But there's a wiki there. Of course, our Discord at /Human Park, and also on Twitter at Free Human Park. You can find all of our information there. We have a really amazing creative crew that's been sending nudes since last year. We got a little bit of heat on that, as anyone would, sending nudes across the internet. But as Rick said, we're here to explore and break some rules. So.
No, brilliant. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. We'll put all that in the show notes as well. But yeah, thank you for your time, Stephen and Rick.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.